Miami Dolphins 2025 schedule and record predictions. Riggs Tamburo, Bryson Owens. This show is brought to you by our friends over at Thomas Adams Apparel. You guys see the hats. We're rocking the clean new merch that is in and new drops for you guys on the website every single week pretty much throughout the rest of the month and maybe even into September as well. ThomasAdamsApparel.com, and you see their Instagram there at Thomas Adams Apparel. But my man, we're talking Miami Dolphins today. This team right here, a lot of question marks. I've seen people who believe they're like, this team's legit. Tua's going to get it done. They're due. It's going to happen. They always lose because they draw a bad cold game in January, and maybe this year it'll be different. But Bryson, I got to ask you, man, you take a look at what happened last season. Obviously, not a bad year. I mean, you finished second place, but you're still short of the playoffs, 8-9 overall. Patriots are getting better, according to you and I. Jets, maybe not, but 5-12, pretty normal. Bills, how are you going to dethrone those guys, 13-4? Yeah. How you feeling about Miami? Do you believe in Tua, 8-9? Is that something we can expect here again?
Yeah, the Dolphins are a very odd team because they can go one of two directions, I think. I mean, obviously, they finished just short of the playoffs this last season, like you mentioned. A big part of that was Tua missing a handful of games, and that's kind of the big key with this team is, weirdly enough, there's not much I like about the Miami Dolphins. Even last year, like the offensive line was bad last year, and it's gotten worse this offseason. Like they lost Teron Armstead, who retired, so their offensive line, which was already rough, got worse. I don't love the defense, especially in the secondary. They traded Jalen Ramsey for Minkah Fitzpatrick. That cornerback room looks rough right now for Miami. But what's weird is, no matter how much you don't like the Miami Dolphins roster, when Tua plays, and I'm not the biggest Tua guy, but when Tua plays, they win. In Tua's career, they are 40-24 with Tua starting at quarterback. That's a 62.5 win percentage. It's pretty good. They'd be good for like a 10-7, 11-6 type season normally. And when he doesn't play, they're 7-13. So they're significantly better with Tua at quarterback, and Tyreek Hill specifically is specifically better with Tua at quarterback. In Tyreek Hill's career as a Dolphin, he averages about 97 yards per game and has 27 touchdowns with Tua as the quarterback. Without Tua, he averages about 56 yards per game and has 1 touchdown. So it's weird. No matter how much you don't like the Miami Dolphins roster, when Tua plays, he seems to be the only quarterback capable in the Mike McDaniel era of running this offense. So it's a weird dynamic with Miami.
It's very weird. And, I've made jokes that Tyreek Hill is going to be in behind a jail cell but by the time the season's over. But, mostly jokes, folks, mostly jokes. But at the same time, I don't know this football team. I don't know if Tua is going to be healthy. I don't know if Tyreek Hill is going to stay out of trouble. I don't know if he's going to get upset in week 9 because they've won 2 games and he's going to say, I want to trade, I'm done. And have an Antonio Brown moment and start dancing in the end zone. I don't know what Tua is going to do. The run game, you look at the running backs, and we'll pull up the depth chart here in just a little bit. It's a good room for the most part, but for some reason, it's almost Bengal-like. When they do have big offensive games, it feels like they fall short, the defense collapse, and they lose. And then all of a sudden, they need to step up. The defense plays great, and the offense scores 6 points. And you're just like, I can't get behind this football team against good teams. When they play the Bills, I'm not taking the Dolphins. I'm not taking the Dolphins against the Ravens or the Bengals or the Steelers. I'm not taking these guys against these teams. So that said, maybe I will, because we got to pull up the record and schedule here and kind of talk about where these guys are going, because week 1, obviously you got preseason at Chicago, at Detroit, at Jacksonville, blah, 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 does not matter. But week 1, you have a big time opportunity to get a win started early at the Indianapolis Colts. You and I have been known to give Anthony Richardson a lot of shit. And overall, in general, just the Colts. Yes, you got Jonathan Taylor, but is it going to be Danny Dimes? Is it not going to be Danny Dimes? How you feeling about this Colts team right now? Is this a spot where Tua goes on the road, has a big offensive game, and maybe immediately it kind of feels like, maybe they are going to be good?
I think that's a real possibility because, again, this will be the healthiest Tua will be all season. We both mentioned it at this point. This offense goes as long as Tua's healthy. and this will be the healthiest Tua will be all season, pretty much.
Mhm.
And this Colts team, I like a lot of what the Colts did this offseason. That secondary, though, still scares me. Like, they're getting banged up during training camp. We have no idea who's going to be available for them week 1 in that secondary room. And I just mentioned when Tua plays, that offense is explosive. They can throw the ball all over the place. Tyreek Hill goes off for, I just mentioned, averages almost 100 yards per game with Tua as his quarterback. So if there's a chance for Miami to get off to a hot start, the Colts are a good opponent for that. But on the flip side, no matter who the quarterback is for the Colts, I just mentioned how scarily bad this Dolphins cornerback room could be. I think whoever it is at quarterback for the Colts, whether it's Daniel Jones or Anthony Richardson, should be able to take advantage of that defense. I think they should be able to run the ball well against them too with Jonathan Taylor. So on the road too in Indianapolis, I feel like if it's Anthony Richardson at quarterback, that crowd is going to be insane because they're going to try and get behind this young kid who's had a rough start to his career to this point. So on the road in Indianapolis is a tough start. So I'm going to give the Dolphins a loss in week 1.
Whoa, a loss in week 1. I don't know, man. Like, when I look at this schedule, I'm like, you know what? You can't lose this one. I mean, you can't lose this one. You got Buffalo coming up. You got New England coming up. Yes, you see the Jets on there and Carolina on there. But then all of a sudden, just a few weeks later, you run into LA, Baltimore, Atlanta, Buffalo again. Like, I think you got to try to stack these wins early here. And I know that that's easy to say, right? Well, you got to start stacking wins. I do agree with you. Anthony Richardson probably throws 2 picks in this game, but also has 2 completions of 50-plus yards because that's just what this cornerback room is. All that said, though, I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going to go with Tua to find a way here early. I think it's a very back and forth, punch each other in the mouth kind of game. Both quarterbacks make mistakes, but when all is said and done, man, I'm really not in on this Colts team. I actually have them as a bottom 5 team in my overall power rankings to start the year. So Tua, don't let me down, bro, because I'm not going to take you a lot, but I will take you in week 1 on the road to find a way to grab a W. Then week number 2, Bryson, like I mentioned, you and I high on this New England Patriots team. You get them at home here in this one. No prime time, not a lot of pressure. Do you expect Tua to go out here and deliver, or does Drake May make these cornerbacks pay to a point where Tua just can't do anything about it?
I think it's a combination of Drake May being able to take advantage of this cornerback room, like I mentioned. Like, the Patriots don't have a dangerous wide receiver room in their own right, but I think this is a game where Stephon Diggs, given he's healthy and fully able to go, he's not on like a snap count or anything for the Patriots. He should be productive in this game. I think they should be able to run the ball with Travion Henderson, their new rookie as well. I think the biggest reason I'm taking the Patriots to win this game, though, is those additions they made on defense. Like, this was already a good but not great defense for New England last year. Like, they were good in some areas, but they were very clearly lacking like real talent in certain areas, especially in the pass rush. They did not get to the quarterback very well. So this offseason, they went out and bolstered that defensive line. I think that's going to be a big key for this one, because I mentioned how bad that Miami Dolphins offensive line is. If New England can get to Tua and pressure him early and often in this game, I don't think they're going to have a chance to keep up with the Patriots offensively. I think this is going to be a good game for Drake May, good game for the Patriots pass rush. This is going to be different than the Patriots of, like, there's that weird stretch for like 3 straight years the Patriots lost in Miami when it was early in the season. It was very strange. No one really understood why. I think this is different. I think Mike Vrabel is going to have these guys ready to go for week 2. So I'm giving the Patriots a win in week 2.
You like that boy, Mike Vrabel, Bryson. You've been hyping this guy up for 2 years. I've been talking shit about him for 2 years. I can't wait to see what he does there. But all of my jokingly bad bias against Mike Vrabel, I do think he's going to be a good coach for this football team, and I do think he's going to have these guys right. I actually think it's an advantage as well that they catch him in week 2, aka for the Patriots, because I think the Patriots, they might come out a little slow in week number 1, but I think in week 2, this is going to start to be a dangerous team, and I want to agree with you that I can't give them a 2-0 start. I know you're 0-2 right now, which is crazy with Buffalo coming up on the road here just 4 days later. But I'm going to go ahead and finally give them an L here. 1-1. Maybe you can flip these 2 games. I just don't think that they don't win one, and I also don't think that they're coming out that hot. So I'll take the Patriots, probably a close one. I think we're talking like what? 24-20 kind of game here in this one. So, all right,
yeah,
guys.
I don't think Miami's getting blown out in either of the losses I have. I think they're both one-score games. I think they're missing something. I think both instances it's on the defensive side where the Dolphins need a stop and they just aren't able to get it done.
Real quick, I got to ask you because, Steelers fan here. They get Minka, and you're still this worried about that secondary. Is he part of the worry, or do you just think he's the only one that's reliable back there?
No, he's the only one I have faith in that secondary room. Like, he's a ball hawk of a safety. I think he's actually going to go back to there was that weird stretch over the last couple of years in Pittsburgh because Minka is so versatile and he can do so many things on defense. I think Pittsburgh wanted him playing closer to the line of scrimmage, more like a box safety. They wanted him helping out in the run game a little bit more. When in the past, early in his career in Pittsburgh and when he was a Dolphin, he was flying around in the back of the secondary. He was getting his hands on everything that was in the air, and he was a ball hawk. He was intercepting a lot of balls early in his career, and that kind of switched over the last couple of years. I thought Minka was not quite as good as he was early in his career. I think he's going to go back to kind of being that free safety, manning the middle of the field, being the center fielder, if you will. And I think he's going to go back to being a ball hawk. I just don't think the rest of that the corner room is so scary to me. They literally have a cornerback ready. He's scheduled to start for them this year. His name is Storm Duck. That's his literal name. Storm Duck is one of the starting corners for the Miami Dolphins this season. It's kind of ugly. Like, I like Minka Fitzpatrick. Ashton Davis, if he's healthy, is a solid safety next to him. Just look at that cornerback room, and you already have one guy on IR. So you have Storm Duck, you have Jack Jones, and Mike Hilton as the starting corner trio, and that's not a good way to go into a season.
No, not at all. First of all, I can't tell if Storm Duck is like the coolest name I've ever heard or one of the dumbest names I've ever heard. I'm not sure. Coming from a guy named Ray. So I guess you never know. Yeah, I agree with that. You're right. If he's a baller, his jersey's going to fly off the shelf because it's a cool jersey for sure. But I agree with you. And Mike Hilton at this point in his career, like, dude, I don't know about that. So I'm right there with you. And I'll tell you what, even though I have to admit, I mean, I did think Minka underperformed at the end of the last season with the Steelers. And I think it's part of why they let him go, because up to that point, dude, probably outside of TJ Watt, my favorite defensive player on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Watching him go really, really hurt me. But just based on some of that late production, I think Pittsburgh kind of said, hey, maybe we got the best of this guy. Maybe he's on the way out. And I like what you're saying. I mean, deep down, I am pulling for Minka to be a dog. So maybe he's still got it in the tank here. But my man, 4 days later, things are going to get really, really rough because you go on the road to the Buffalo Bills. I don't really think I have to explain why this is a tough game on Prime Video, but it is. This for you, though, would be an 0-3 start. Is Tua going to shock the people?
So I think it is interesting. They do get a bit of a break, the Dolphins do, by getting Buffalo in September instead of later in the year. Like getting them week 3 where it's not going to be super cold. I know it's a night game, so it might be a little bit chilly in Buffalo, but it won't be below freezing, which we all know if it's below 40 degrees, it's an automatic loss for the Dolphins. At least the weather won't be that bad in Buffalo in middle of September. So they do get a bit of a break there. And I do feel like whenever Tua plays, the games between the Dolphins and the Bills are weirdly always competitive. It always kind of comes down to a last-second play. Or there was that weird game a few years ago where Josh Allen just played like one of the worst games of his NFL career in Miami. So it's a weird thing between these two teams where they're always a little bit closer than you think. So I do have them losing to Buffalo, but that Buffalo secondary, it's pretty rough too. Like this could be a game where you see both teams put up 30-plus points and it's a bit of a shootout because neither secondary is able to stop the other quarterback. The difference is, I think, if you're going to go shot for shot, if it's going to be a shootout and you're just going to ask me which quarterback I want to win in a shootout, I'm taking Josh Allen over Tua every single time. So I think it's going to be close. one possession game, high scoring, maybe one of the highest scoring games of the NFL season. But I'm going to take Buffalo to win week 3.
Can I get a prediction on score?
Yeah, I think it could be like a 35-31 type of game.
Ooh, all right. I think you're onto something here with this. Gonna need damn near 40 if you want to win this football game. I'm kind of right there with you. I agree with you in the sense of like Josh Allen's never out of this game, and it could be 30 seconds left, and if he has to get Bass in range with 30 seconds left from the 20, like I honestly think he can do it. So I can't go Miami here as much as they might compete. And honestly, like you're saying, I think it's close for the most part. But I do think in the fourth quarter, Josh Allen it's that situation where Tua has a bad mistake, kind of going down to try to tie the game up down 7. Josh comes back in, goes down, punches it up by 10, up by 14. And I think this game kind of ends like that. So I'm going to go a little bit more in the realm of like 30, 34-24 Buffalo Bills here. Okay. But I agree with you 100%. The winner of this game breaks 30 points. That's going to happen. So we'll see, guys. And I do like what you pointed out there pretty early here in September. And then also they catch them a second time, like the first or second week in November. So they get pretty lucky with the Bills in general. I mean, I know it's in Miami, but still November in Buffalo would be pretty damn cold. So anyway, moving on through here, Bryson 0-3, myself 1-2. The Dolphins got to get rolling here, and they got a big time opportunity and an 11-day break at home against Justin Fields and the New York Jets coming in. This one going down on ESPN. My man, they got to win one eventually. But they got to stop the running of Justin Fields. Can they do it?
They do, and I think that's actually going to be one of the keys to victory for the Dolphins in this one. It's going to be one of their strengths is the Jets don't have a great offensive line. The one thing the Dolphins do have, if they can stay healthy, pretty darn good defensive line and pass rush. Like I think it was 2 years ago before Jalen Phillips got hurt, Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips were putting together one of the better pass rushing duo seasons in the NFL. I think they were both on track to break 10 sacks that year. They're both playing excellent football, and Phillips went down with an injury. Chubb, I think, also got hurt later in that year. So if those two can stay healthy, and they did draft Kenneth Grant in the first round of the NFL draft, I think he's going to be big for them. They have a good defensive line, and I think that could be what's the difference maker in this game. Because if you can pressure Justin Fields and more importantly, contain him in the pocket, don't let Justin Fields leave the pocket, extend plays, make plays with his arm on the run. If he gets out in open field, it's really hard to tackle Justin Fields. Like, of all the, I'm not the biggest Justin Fields fan, as you know, but he's probably up there among the 3 or 4 hardest quarterbacks in the NFL to tackle one-on-one in open space. Like, it's him, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, those type of guys who are almost impossible to deal with. So if you can contain Fields in the pocket, make him beat you with his arm, then you're in a good spot playing against the New York Jets. So I'm going to give the Dolphins a win, largely because, like you said, I don't think they start 0-4. That'd be a little crazy. I do think the Dolphins offense can find success against this Jets defense. Sauce Gardner, I know, is among the league's best corners, but he's been a little bit disappointing the last couple of years. They lost DJ Reed as their other corner, so I think one of Hill or Waddle is going to have a big game in this one. So I'm going to give the Dolphins a win in week 4.
Sauce, a.k.a. the Tug Merchant, bro. I'm waiting for this dude to kind of get the refs to kind of crack down on him defensively, because he does commit a lot of tugging, a lot of holding, a lot of questionable PIs where if I'm on the other side, I'm losing my mind the entire game. Like, dude, he won't let go of me. But at the same time, if I was a Jets fan and he was getting called all the time, I'd be like, it's so soft. Like, what are you talking about? It's one of those, right? So he plays with fire, but I'll give him a little bit of respect here. I agree with you. I think this is a Jets loss in this one. And I just think it's fair to say a 2-2 start when you break it all down. Is there a world that they beat Buffalo? Honestly, there is, but very minimal. But can they beat New England? Yes. So I'm going to go with 2-2 here. Another close one, though. I mean, 11 days to prepare. That's kind of the icing on the cake here. For me, is just like, there's no excuse. It's basically a bye week. There's no excuse to lose this game. So There you go. 1-3 for Bryson, 2-2 for me. Then you get a chance to start stacking up some wins here. You go on the road 6 days later to the Carolina Panthers, who, by the way, I mentioned on the show, I want to say yesterday's show, which you guys got to check it out on the YouTube channel. But I mentioned that I think the Panthers are low-key kind of sleepy. They're kind of like the Raiders for me this season. I think they're going to beat a few more people than people are thinking. So I do want to ask you, do you trust them on the road here against Bryce Young? Or could this be one of those weird 34-point Bryce Young games and they win?
I think I'm in agreement with you that I think the Panthers can be competitive in a lot of games. I don't think they're going to win a lot of games, mostly because that defense in Carolina – so bad. One of the worst defenses in the NFL last year. I don't think they got better this offseason. I do like what they're doing on offense. Like, they had one of the league's better offensive lines last year. I believe Pro Football Focus has them ranked inside the top 12-ish offensive lines heading into this season. They're 11th on Pro Football Focus's list. So a good offensive line again, which is very needed when you have Bryce Young as your quarterback. I like that they went out and got Ted McMillan out of Arizona to stack up with this wide receiver room. The Panthers wide receiver room, sneaky good. They If you look at the names on there, pretty darn good wide receiver room. I just don't think it's going to be enough to go. I think this could be another shot for shot game, high scoring game. Neither secondary I think is equipped to shut down either offense. So it could be another high scoring affair. And in that case, I'm going to go with Tua and Mike McDaniel over Bryce Young and Dave Canales, even though I do like the direction the Panthers are going in. I just think the Dolphins are a little bit more equipped to win these type of kind of bad defense type of games.
You mentioned it, man. Chuba Hubbard, obviously Rico Dowdle, the ex-Cowboy, not a bad RB2 here. And Trevor Etienne, one of those guys who could end up being pretty darn solid there, especially in an RB3 kind of role, potentially steps up, takes an RB2 role. Jalen Coker, Jimmy Horn Jr. is the 3 here behind Ted McMillan out of Colorado. We've covered him in person. Dude's a great wide receiver. I think he has potential to kind of have a weird, sneaky, I don't want to compare him to like Marvin Mims in Denver, but kind of in the sense of like, could he have a couple big plays, potentially work his way in? I think it could happen here, just to throw it out there. Also could return some kicks if they want to make that thing happen. Ted McMillan, old man. Adam Thielen, old man, Hunter Renfrow, but 2 dudes that any given day could explode. Xavier Legette, I mean, you're mentioning it, man. Tremble at tight end, not a bad option here. I do wish their tight end room was a bit stronger. I mean, no offense to Jatavion Sanders and Mitchell Evans, but who are you, bro? Make me pay for that one, dog. Make me pay for that, but I just don't know who you are. So you got to go ahead and find something here. But I agree with you. I think there's enough weapons here offensively for the Panthers to hang in this game. You mentioned the Bills game being high scoring. That's what I got in this one here. I got this 35-something, 35-something. I'm going to go 34-30 Dolphins in this game. But Bryson, if they give me a touchdown in the betting lines, I'm taking it with the Panthers here in this one because I think they'll be in it the entire time. They're going to lose on a field goal, most likely. That seems to be how it goes with these guys. But anyway, another win here for the guys. So I finally have them above 500, and Bryson has them starting to creep up just a little bit. Then the tides might turn a little bit because you got to go on the road in week 6 to the LA Chargers. I know last night was preseason, my man, but I think Harbaugh, man, he got something cooking. You know, I'm not a Chargers guy. I don't like the Chargers, but I'll tell you what, I might be eating my words. I gave the Chargers like 7 wins in that show. I dogged them. They might be good, Bryson. Can they go on the road here and win this game in what should be another high-scoring affair? The only difference is LA actually has a defense.
Yeah, I was about to say, I actually don't think it will be a high-scoring game because of the way Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers last year, the recipe for them was ball control, run the ball well, play really good defense. I think it'll be pretty similar this season. There might be a little bit more shots taken downfield. There might be a little bit more playmaking ability for Justin Herbert this year. But Harbaugh coaches a very, not simple, that's the wrong word to phrase it, but old school style football where he really wants things in his structure. He doesn't want things too much playmaking out of the quarterback. He wants his quarterbacks to almost be more point guards than playmakers. He wants them hey, open guy there. I don't care if it's a 5-yard pass. He's open, hit him. We'll move the chains that way. He doesn't want Justin Herbert to take dumb shots downfield when they're kind of like 30-70 balls. You know what I mean? So the Chargers are going to run the ball. They're going to play good defense. I don't think the Dolphins are going to do very well in this game. I think that the pass rush for the Chargers is going to get to Tua a lot in this game. The secondary, I don't love the corner room for the Chargers, but they have good safeties in LA. They're physical. They play good defense. They're going to run the ball well. Even though I was a big Omarion Hampton fan coming out of college. I didn't love what I saw from him in the Hall of Fame game. I thought he was weirdly a little bit timid and didn't hit the hole as hard as I saw him do in college. But yeah, I think he'll get better, obviously. So I think the Chargers are going to win this thing pretty easily. I think the Dolphins are going to struggle to score.
Very interesting. And we are still banking on, once again, speculation. Tua being healthy at this point.
Yeah. I'm operating all of this under Tua's playing. I'm not going to speculate whether he's going to miss a game here or there. I'm operating every game.
That week 15 he gets murdered and he's done. I'm right there with you. Okay. So very interesting that you said that, because this could be one of those bad turnover games. They're coming off 2 wins. Maybe they get a little bit greedy almost in their preparation, thinking that they're legit again. But it's like I said when we opened the show, they don't win the big games. They can beat the Panthers. They can beat a couple bad teams. They haven't beat the Bills on our predictions. They haven't beat the Patriots on our predictions. They're not going to beat the Chargers. Like, this is where they got to start finding a way to get a couple of these. But I'm with you here. I'm going to go with the Chargers to win this game. Justin Herbert's going to fuck around though, Bryson. He's going to leave him in this one. And I'm actually going to agree with you on the lower scoring part as well. I'm going to go Chargers 24, Dolphins 13. So something in the realm of maybe they're in it going into the fourth quarter, but they're 1 score from things going wrong. Tua throws a pick, 5-6 minutes left, and that's all she wrote. Omarion Hampton breaks out for an 80-yard touchdown, game over. But
to back up real quick, what you were saying about the Dolphins never winning like the big games with Tua. Weirdly, I mentioned earlier, Dolphins record clearly better with Tua as the starting quarterback. Tyreek Hill clearly more productive with Tua as the starting quarterback. Oddly enough, though, 2 areas the team really struggles with Tua. Obviously, in the cold. They've never won a game. Literally, I think now 0-11, I want to say, 0-12 when it's below 40 degrees. And they're not good against teams with winning records. Tua has a 8-11 record against teams with winning records. I'm operating under the Chargers are going to be a winning football team again. So if that's the case, another reason to take the Dolphins. They just don't beat good teams, and they don't beat teams in the cold.
Yeah. The Chargers might be a winning team, but no matter what, they will be considered a playoff contender. So I do agree with you there. I think at this point in the season, I do have the Chargers positive. So I will at least give you that. They're a winning team when they meet them. And for that reason, we're going to go with the Chargers to get a big win here in week 6. Then week 7 on the road. Is it Dylan Gabriel, Shador Sanders, Deshaun Watson? Man, I don't even know at this point. Old man Flacco, I don't know if he can even walk by week 7. So at the Cleveland Browns, Bryson, we don't have to overthink this one unless you got a hot take here. I think it's a pretty easy win here for the Dolphins. Ugly, low scoring, but still easy, if that makes sense. I got like 23-13, 23-17. I think the Dolphins win this game with 23 points, and I think they can get there.
Sure. I think I'm with you for the most part. I think it's going to be one of those games where you're like, it feels like Miami controlled it from the start, but it's a 1-score win, and so you're like, one play here or there could have changed things. It's just the Browns were never able to make that one play happen. I will say the only thing that would scare me in picking the Dolphins in this one, it is middle of October in Cleveland, so it'll probably be a little cold, a little wet. The weather probably won't be great. Not a good sign for Miami, as I just mentioned. And I keep mentioning how bad this offensive line is for the Dolphins. I think I'm understating how bad that offensive line is going to be. Pro Football Focus has them ranked 25th overall. I think that's kind of generous. They lost their best offensive lineman in the offseason and didn't replace him with a quality option. And this could be one of those games where Myles Garrett weirdly just goes off for like 3.5 sacks and forces 2 fumbles and single-handedly wrecks this Miami offense by himself. Like, and with Denzel Ward, they have a good secondary in Cleveland. So could I see a world where Cleveland's defense is just good enough to beat the Dolphins? Sure. I just don't.
Yeah.
You mentioned it before we even started talking about this game. No idea who the quarterback is for Cleveland at this point.
Yeah.
I have no faith in this Cleveland offense.
The running back room's terrible. The receiver room's terrible.
Yep.
I don't know how the coaching staff hasn't been cleared. Like I don't know.
So I'm with you that I think Miami's going to win, but that's my one scenario. If by the time we get to that point in the season and you look at the weather and it's like, oh, it's going to be 42 degrees and snow or rain in Cleveland, that might change some things. But for now, I'm going to go with a win for the Dolphins.
Yeah, and you know what else about the Cleveland Browns here, man, is folks, don't take the Dolphins in your Survivor League here, okay? Because I do, I know initially I kind of jumped into this saying this is going to be a dog walk and we'll see you in the next week, but the Browns tend to win some of these games against some of these teams that have decent offenses, bad defenses at home in Cleveland. It's like the Steelers. They make it ugly, and they're going to wait until you mess up. And if there's strip sacks or Tua takes a bad hit or you're right, this could go backwards here. So I will give it to the Dolphins. I'll go with my 23-17. So that gives me if the Dolphins allow a 75-yard drive for the win, they're going to lose 24-23.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. So I'm with you. You probably take the points with Cleveland, but Cleveland just shouldn't win the game.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Anyway, Dolphins win here, but maybe just by a little. Then you go on the road to the Atlanta Falcons. Michael Penix, week number 8. Bryson, look at what's coming up, man. 4 days later, you got the Ravens.
Yeah.
Then you got the Buffalo Bills. This could be considered a must-win football game. Do they find a way?
Yeah, this starts a pretty brutal stretch for the Miami Dolphins in this one. I am cautiously optimistic about the Atlanta Falcons, largely because I am cautiously optimistic about Michael Penix Jr. I think his arm strength compared to Kirk Cousins last year, night and day difference. Like Michael Penix Jr., dude's got a cannon for an arm and is not afraid to try and fit into tight windows. He is also extremely accurate. I remember during his pre-draft process, people talked about if you were to throw the ball 50 yards downfield at a door, it hit the keyhole. Like that's how accurate Michael Penix Jr. is. Like you haven't seen a lot of him in the NFL, obviously, but I am going to assume he's going to be an upgrade over Kirk Cousins last year. I think Bijan Robinson's going to be great again this year. Drake London's going to be really good again this year. I'm going to weirdly buy into Kyle Pitts hype this season because of Michael Penix Jr. I don't know if you feel the same way I do about Kyle Pitts heading into the season, but I thought it was weird. The energy around him this offseason, so much different. When Kirk Cousins came into town and Kyle Pitts was wearing number 8, he joked with Kirk Cousins. He was like, hey, man, you can have number 8. Just give me more targets. And the next day, Kirk Cousins picked number 18. I was like, that probably meant nothing, but kind of a weird thing to do.
Yeah.
And then all offseason, Michael Penix Jr. praising Kyle Pitts left and right. So I think we could see a weirdly good year for Kyle Pitts this season. And I think the Atlanta offense is going to be too much for the Dolphins offense to hang with. I think Atlanta's defense will be better than Miami's defense on the road in Atlanta. Give me a win for the Falcons in week 8.
Interesting. Well, first of all, it's an interesting take on Pitts just because of all are they going to keep him? Are they going to pay him? Are they going to extend him? There's all these questions on Pitts. And I do agree with you, but I thought I had this guy figured out. I thought he was a great player and I thought he was a huge weapon for them. And last year it was like the Drake London show. Every day was the Drake London show and every game-winning touchdown was the Drake London show. And if it wasn't him, it was Bijan. And if it wasn't him, it's Bijan's backups. And it's just always, where's Kyle
Someone
Pitts?
else.
And so,
Yeah.
for that reason, I'm going to slightly disagree with you here. I'm going to go with a win for the Dolphins here. But taking a look at that depth chart, like you said, Bijan, Tyler Algier, who, by the way, has to be one of the best RB2s at stealing touchdowns for all you sports bettors out there. Keep an eye on Tyler Algier this season. But on top of that, Drake London, Hodge, Mooney, who obviously questionable right now, but expected to be fine. DJ Chark, Ray McLeod, another Mims type of guy, deep ball threat, Kyle Pitts, Charlie Warner, also a good tight end too here for these guys. So I like the depth chart there in Atlanta, kind of like you're saying. I just overall, man, I wasn't on the Falcons last year. Raheem Morris, I don't know. There's so many I don't knows for me. I think Michael Penix and I want to say Seth brought it up in the show yesterday that we're giving Michael Penix all this credit, but we haven't seen that much to be hyping him up necessarily the way that he is. I told you coming out of college, I was huge on this dude. You and I on Michael Penix and Bo Nix. We've been on these dudes. Everybody else was wrong. Screw y'all. We call it. But he didn't play great when he came in for Kirk Cousins. He played good, but like he kind of played how Kirk played, bro. Like if we're being real, like from a success point of view, I'm not saying that they look the same, but like it wasn't like he came in there and just took over the job and said, Kirk's never playing again. This is my job. It's like Kirk shot himself in the foot. So I don't know, man. Anyway, all that said, my rant is over. I am fading the Falcons here in this one. And I think part of that is because I'm looking at the next 2 weeks here. And unless you got a hot take, my man, I'm actually going to keep this pretty damn simple. I got a loss against Baltimore. And even though it's at home on a beautiful 10-day break in Miami, I'm going to give another loss to Buffalo. So I got a win against Atlanta. I got a loss to Baltimore on the short week and a loss against Buffalo. And the only thing I want to throw in there on top of this take is that I think this Baltimore defense are going to absolutely embarrass Tua, probably his worst game of the season up to this point. And I also think Lamar Jackson is going to have a field day dancing around, doing anything he wants. So that's my biggest blowout thus far against the Dolphins. I got Baltimore Ravens 41, Dolphins 17.
See, that's really funny. I was thinking 41 points for the Ravens as well in that game. I'd probably give the Dolphins, I might go with the same score as you actually, 41-17. I think the Dolphins can luck into a couple touchdowns in that matchup.
Yeah.
I think Baltimore's defense was so weird last year because they started off the first half of the season arguably the worst defense in football. Like everyone was putting up like 30 points on them. They were the worst pass defense. They couldn't get to the quarterback. It was really weird. And then it was like week 10 to the end of the season. They were like the number one rated defense in every category. It was really weird. I think it took a little bit of time for that new defensive scheme to hit. Obviously, Mike McDonald left the team. They had a whole new defensive system, whole new defensive scheme, coordinator, the whole thing. And then once they found their groove, they were lethal for the rest of the year. And then they just got better this offseason. So I'm with you. I think the Baltimore Ravens absolutely embarrass the Miami Dolphins. And then, I have the Bills winning as well. I don't think the Dolphins are good enough to really push the Bills. I think the Bills are going to walk over them pretty easily in that game.
So a Bills sweep on the year. God forbid they meet each other in the playoffs. Dolphins are going to lose again because they're going to find their ass in Bills Mafia country. And Bryson, 2 years ago, it was my team, and a year ago, it was your team. And at this point, I am done playing playoff games in Buffalo, dog. Send me to Kansas City. I don't give a damn. I'm done in Buffalo, bro. So anyway, guys, a sweep for the Bills over the Dolphins, a loss to the Ravens, and then Bryson going with a win for the Falcons while I have a W for the Dolphins there in that game. But moving on through here, man, Bryson, you got to start finding some wins here if this is going to be a playoff football team. And now you go overseas against the Washington Commanders, so no home team before the bye week. My man, you talked about the stretch: Atlanta, Baltimore, Buffalo, Washington. You really need to win this game. Maybe on the road in the middle of nowhere, can they find a way to beat Jaden Daniels?
This is actually my probably one real surprise win for the Dolphins all year. I am really struggling with the Washington Commanders heading into the season because They were really good a year ago, but they were really good in the areas that you typically see regression the next season in. Like they were unbelievable on fourth down. They converted 87% of their fourth downs. No shot that happens again back to
No
back
way.
years. They converted like 56% of their third downs. That probably regresses. They were unbelievable in one score games. I think you typically see whenever you are really good in one score games or really bad in one score games, that almost always flips the next year. So I think they'll be a little bit worse in one score games this year. And I like that they went out and got Laramie Tunsil for that offensive line for Washington. Still not a great offensive line over there. So I think the Dolphins pass rush can have some success. And this stuff going on with Terry McLaurin, I don't think people realize how valuable Terry McLaurin is to the Washington Commanders and that passing game. Like he is Jaden Daniels' first, second, third option. That was all last season. It was Terry McLaurin or bust in that passing game a lot of the times. And if they don't figure out this contract thing with Terry and he's not on the team, I think it's gonna be really scary for that Washington Commanders passing game. I'm a big fan of Jaden Daniels. I think he's excellent. But I think he might take a little bit of a step back from last year. And we always see these overseas games, the team that's typically viewed as the underdog. How many times do we see them come out and win these games? Because they have nothing to lose.
I said 2 days ago, I went to war for that take, so I agree with you.
Yeah, it happens all the time where that underdog team heading into wherever they're playing overseas, they have nothing to lose. They're not in front of their fans. They're not in front of the other team's fans traditionally. So I think this is a good game for the Dolphins. I think they can put up points on this Commanders defense, and I'm very worried about the Commanders offense taking a step back. So I'm going to give the win for the Dolphins in Week 11.
Yeah, I mean, you see it there, man. 12-5 last year. The Cowboys, they ain't getting any better. And I hope to God we saw the news of Micah Parsons today, bro. Please let him go. Please let him go. I will have this much more fun talking about the Dallas Cowboys every single week when these guys literally can't get out of their own way, as long as they don't be so bad that they get to draft like Arch Manning or someone that comes out instead of Dak Prescott, because then I'll be pissed. But I hope they're like a 5-win, 6-win football team, and they're just so bad. But anyway, they're not getting any better. The Giants are not getting any better. The door's still open here for the Commanders to find a way to win this. But like you mentioned, everything went right, and they were still 2 games back. Like, they can't win this division, I don't think. And my brother and I were talking the other day, and he literally had the exact same take as you of they have to be due. There's no way that this team can be a better football team than they were last year. People are overhyping them a little bit. Jaden Daniels is going to get figured out. Now, you and I did both say Lamar Jackson was going to murder the Dolphins, and he is somewhat of a similar quarterback to that. So if they don't learn against Lamar, then they're in big trouble here. But it's like they get a blueprint 2 weeks earlier. So I agree with you. This could be a what just happened overseas kind of game.
I think the biggest difference between in the Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels comparison is Lamar Jackson's going into the game with a top 10-ish offensive line, very good offensive line in Baltimore. So he's not going to be under nearly the same amount of pressure I think Jaden Daniels will. Washington's offensive line coming into the season is 19th by Pro Football Focus, a little bit below average. I think there's a chance where Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips in this defensive line for the Dolphins has a solid game against Jaden.
All good points. All good points. And the thing about the Lamar game, too, is when you have a 4-day notice, the team with the better defense and the more aggressive pass rush, that team tends to win. The Ravens are going to kill him, bro. I mean, like, we know they're going to kill him, straight up. But this is just such a different scenario. And, like, I'm actually considering jumping on board with you here. I'm just going to feel so stupid when the Commanders just beat the piss out of them on the road. And I'm like, what was I doing? So I am going to go with the Commanders here. I think it's a relatively close game, though. Like you said, I think it's ugly as hell. It's like 12-7 at halftime, something just weird. And we're like, what's going on? Because, you know, I'm going to be up watching this thing, 9:30 a.m. on the East Coast. Woo, woo. I don't have to get up at 6 a.m. anymore. God bless America. But all that said here, I'm going to go Commanders tight 27. I'll go 27-23. I think it's fair. I think it's fair here. But I agree with you. It's close. The difference between me and you, though, even though that game differs and we differ on the Falcons game, it's basically a flip here. We're both saying 1-3 over this 4-game stretch prior to the bye week. So hopefully they can get it together. They get a beautiful break coming out of the bye week, though, knowing that they need to, I don't want to say win out, but they need to damn near win out when it's all said and done. And they get 2 early options here. First one coming out of the bye at home against the Saints, who you and I both have picked as at least a bottom 2 team, if not the worst team in all of football. And then they go to the New York Jets. I will zoom through the Saints and say that's a big win off a bye, have to win. Unless you want to disagree with me, Dub?
Nope, I'm with you. That's a win for the Dolphins.
Okay. Now the rematch against Justin Fields. Lamar Jackson a few weeks ago, Jaden Daniels a few weeks ago. We're getting a little bit worse, in quarterbacks as we go, but same style. Does Justin Fields get a win here and kind of right the ship?
No, I am not big on the New York Jets this season. They have 2 things I really like on this team, and that is Garrett Wilson at wide receiver. And when Sauce Gardner is on, he's one of the best corners in football. He's just been very streaky over the last couple seasons, so it's hard to have 100% confidence in Sauce Gardner. Outside of those 2, the defensive line is fine. I think it's underperformed consistently over the last couple of years. The offensive line's terrible. The running game has been disappointing. Breece Hall can't take that next step we want him to. We want Breece Hall to be the star running back, and he's kind of stuck in neutral right now as this he's a starter, but you could get better than Breece Hall. And then the secondary outside of Sauce just isn't very good in my opinion. So I'm going to have the Dolphins winning in New York. I just don't think this Jets team is going to be very good.
This is one of those ones that reminds me of, and it's not quite the same comparison, but the Commanders game for you. It's like a game where the Jets shouldn't win the game, but I'm not going to be shocked in any world when they win this game 13-10. You know what I mean? This is one of those ones where the Dolphins you're just like, what the hell? The only reason I'm not going to take the Jets here is because of the desperation mode and what's coming up and coming off the bye week. And I know you don't look ahead, but if you're ever going to look ahead, you're going to look past the New Orleans Saints. If there's any team you're going to look past. So I do think there's a world that they've been preparing for this team. They're ready to go for this team, knowing, okay, we got to go win, and then we got to jump in here and find a way to win against actual good teams. So I'll give it to them, but my God, it's ugly. It's disgusting. I'm going 17-13 Jets here Dolphins here. And I do think Justin Fields has the ability to win this game. And I will be taking the points with the Jets. I guess, depending on how they look at this point in the year, they might just be so bad. No one touches them, but maybe just based off the quarterback alone, I have to consider, maybe taking a running quarterback. So anyway, man, you got to start winning big games because here you go. By the way, let me just take a second. Folks, I will be at this game, and I can't freaking wait for it. Monday, December 15th, at the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's going down on ESPN, cold as balls. I picked this one because I said, if I'm going to go to my first Steelers game after moving to Pittsburgh, I got to go to a real one. And so I picked a real one in primetime against the Dolphins that just can't swim in the cold water. My man, do they walk into Pittsburgh, get a 3-game win streak going? Well, actually for you, a 4-game win streak going, or is this where that win streak kind of comes to an end?
This is where the win streak comes to an end, and we just got done right before the bye week with, I think, their toughest part of the schedule, their toughest 4-game stretch with Atlanta through Washington. This is their second toughest stretch of football, where you go Pittsburgh through New England, and this one's brutal. I mean, you opened up with it. It's going to be cold, middle of December in Pittsburgh. Yeah, good luck, Miami. It's going to be 30 degrees, snow, sleet. It's going to be disgusting. And I think I remember when we did the Steelers show, I had the Pittsburgh Steelers winning this football game, largely because it's in Pittsburgh. And I think there's a real chance Pittsburgh pitches a shutout in this game. I'm struggling to find where the Dolphins move the ball on these guys, unless you didn't like the way I phrased the veteran leadership of your Pittsburgh Steelers when we did Steelers show. But the only
Yeah.
hope I see with Miami in this game is if Jalen Ramsey and Darius Slayer hurt in this game in the secondary. But even
Aaron
then,
Rodgers.
if Aaron Rodgers isn't playing, but even then, TJ Watt in this pass rush against that Miami offensive line in the cold, that's recipe for disaster. So pretty easy win in my opinion. I think it could be ugly, ugly on both sides, not a fun game to watch unless you're there rooting for the Steelers, like a 20-7 type of game where just the Dolphins never stood a chance.
Okay, interesting. I will say I think it's going to be, shit, I ain't no fucking weatherman, but I think it's going to be cold and it might be snowing. I don't know if it's going to be miserable though. I don't think it's going to be like the Kansas City game. I don't think it's going to be frozen or piss rain, snow, icing or anything. But either way, cold, right? I mean, damn, it's going to be cold, right? So I think there's opportunity here. I think the run game for the Dolphins could find a little bit of success here. Everyone knows tackling in the cold sucks. You played football. I played football, bro. Just putting a helmet on in the cold sucks, right? Yeah. So I think the run game on both sides is going to have success here. It's just the difference is I don't see Tua doing anything through the air, while I do think whether it's Aaron, whether it's Mason Rudolph, he's played in this weather his whole life, whatever. He can manage. It just feels like the Steelers just kind of creep up, hold the win. Chris Boswell, he could kick on the damn moon, bro. He don't give a damn. He's going to get it done. So that said, I got 2 touchdowns, 3 field goals for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going 23. I'll go 23-13 here. I'm leaning more towards 23-10. I think the Dolphins can get in once. I think they settle for a field goal or 2. And then I think as you get deeper in the game, they need to score and they just can't. How are they going to go 75 yards in this game? I don't know. So I'm with you. I'll go 23-10. Pittsburgh Steelers here. And Bryson, all I care about is that they win, bro. I don't care if it's 41-0 or 17-16, bro. Let's just catch a dub. This is a bad spot here for the Miami Dolphins. Then,
you mentioned, I want to throw out a fun – this prop obviously isn't available yet, but this will be one of my favorite props we talk about when we get to that game during the season. I'm going to predict a Jalen Ramsey pick 6, and he's going to let Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins know about it. Jalen Ramsey, if he's healthy for that game, I can see him getting one on Tua.
You're right, bro. You're right. And he'll run right up to him and hand the ball, bro. He don't give a damn.
Yeah. It's even if it's not a pick 6, I can see Jalen Ramsey coming away with an interception, and he's going to let all of Miami know about the interception.
No, you are right, though. I mean, whether it's picks, tackle props, he's going to make himself known in this football game. I'm right there with you. So thanks for pointing that out, man, because you already know, bro. I'm unloading the bankroll on this game. I unload Chris Boswell over 1.5. Give me that for 500. We're rocking, bro. It's going down. We got to pay off the tickets. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, all that said, guys, Pittsburgh Steelers win here. We are going to be right back, guys. We got a few more great games here on the board, but right before we go ahead and do that, we do want to go ahead and run a quick 30-second word from our friends over at Thomas Adams Apparel. So enjoy the commercial. Make sure you guys take a good look here, find some merch that you like, and then head over to thomasadamsapparel.com and grab some today.
Are you someone that likes to keep it fun while also looking good on the golf course? Well, then you need to check out Thomas Adams Apparel. Thomas Adams Apparel co-founders Jacob and Grayson envisioned a brand that combined creativity, style, and a love for the game. The duo are dedicated to producing high-quality, stylish, and versatile products that golfers can both enjoy on the course and in everyday life. This summer is the perfect time to improve your look on the course while getting some affordable rounds of golfing with your buddies. Go check out thomasadamsapparel.com right now and grab some sweet new gear.
ThomasAdamsApparel.com, guys, one more time there, and also at Thomas Adams Apparel on Instagram. Always dropping the new merch on the Instagram for you, letting you know 3 left in stock, 2 left in stock, man. These guys move the product, so do not wait around. You will miss out. Once again, I love my little pink one, new one here. Bryson got the beautiful baby blue on, and once again, you guys saw the commercial. All kinds of great products over there, so shout out to those guys. But my man, only a couple games left here on the board, and you mentioned it. I mean, at least you're not going to Cincinnati, because my God, on December 21st in Cincinnati, you thought Pittsburgh was miserable. Bro, you been to that stadium? Oh my God. But either way, You go from Monday Night Football, 6 days later, you're back home. Joe Burrow comes to town. This one, though, in primetime still, Sunday Night Football for the Bengals game. You're a Joe Burrow guy. Does he handle business here? Maybe going on another late season hot win streak there for Cincy.
Yeah, I think this is a relatively easy win for the Bengals in this one. Funny enough, I think this is kind of interesting. Not that it means anything, but in that draft class, Joe Burrow went first. Then I believe Tua went third and Herbert went fifth. So that was the first three quarterbacks taken. All three of them play each other this season. Kind of think it's interesting. I always like seeing when quarterbacks from the same draft class take each other on, especially one when it was like, I don't know why the Dolphins took Tua instead of Herbert. I know you're not a Herbert guy. I would have taken Herbert over Tua 10 out of 10 times. But for this game specifically, like, I think Joe Burrow is going to have a field day. We've talked about it all show how bad that Miami secondary is. And now they have to go up against probably the best quarterback, wide receiver duo, trio, I guess, when you add both wide receivers. Probably the best in the entire league. Like, I can't name a better quarterback, wide receiver one, wide receiver two combination in pro football. Like, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins are going to have a field day against this Dolphins defense, and I just don't think Miami, even against a miserable, horrendous defense like Cincinnati, I don't think that the Cincinnati defense is that bad to give up this game. Like, I think Cincinnati could put up 40-plus points in this game. As long as they hold the Dolphins to 30 points, I think they're going to have a chance to win. So give me the Bengals win.
Well, like you said, I mean, it probably is the best trio because it's also a bottom 5 defense because they spent all their damn money on 3 dudes. No wonder they're good. Like, that's like if the Steelers had, DK Metcalf and went and got Mike Evans and then signed Jamar Chase. Like, no shit. But then you suck everywhere else. So anyway, I'm with you. It is a big 3 here. They are going to have a field day, like you mentioned. It's not going to be warm per se in Florida, but that's why people go to Florida in December, folks, because it's warmer than everywhere else. So I think it is a big offensive game here. It does make sense. I do think Tua finds success. I do think the run game, honestly, is really good. I think A-Chain probably good for 2 tutties in this game. Like, they're going to run all over this Bengals team. You mentioned the high-scoring game earlier. This might be my biggest high-scoring game of the season, which is going to shock people on the schedule because it's in December. But this is just no defense to be found. Give me a classic Joe Burrow game, score for score, 41-34. Bengals get this one done. I think it's scary, and I think both teams really need to win it. And in that case, like you said, I'm not a Tua guy. I'm not really a Justin Herbert guy. But coming out of the draft, I would have took Justin Herbert 50 times out of 50 times as well. It's just that he's sucked ever since. But, whatever. Anyway, both going to go ahead and go with a loss here for the Miami Dolphins against the Bengals. So lose to the Steelers, lose to the Bengals, classic AFC North kicking everybody's ass. Then, my man, assuming we are halfway correct in our prediction so far, you got to win these 2 just to have a chance to be competing for anything. So Sunday, December 28th, you are back at home. The last home game you get, Baker Mayfield hops on the bus, drives on over. Are we going to say Baker Mayfield isn't going to have a Joe Burrow game here?
That's exactly what I'm thinking. Like, they have to go back-to-back games with 2 of the most high-powered passing attacks in all of football with this secondary. It's going to be a brutal couple weeks in a row for the Miami Dolphins. And both in warm weather, obviously, whether this was in Tampa Bay or in Miami, it's still in Florida. It's still going to be a warmer weather game than normal. And you got, even though the wide receivers for Tampa Bay don't have the same ceiling and same star power potential that the Bengals have, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers still have 2 Pro Bowl caliber receivers with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. They went out and drafted Emeka Egbuka in the draft, who Baker Mayfield can't stop raving about in training camp.
I love that pick.
Such a good wide receiver trio. And then you add in Jalen McMillan, who was good for them at the end of last year. Like, this Tampa Bay offense should have another field day against this Dolphins defense. So even though I don't love the Bucs defense, and that's probably my one major concern for them heading into this season, again, kind of like the Bengals defense, it can't be bad enough to not keep you in this game if it's going to be a shootout. I think the Buccaneers are more than equipped to beat the Dolphins in a shootout. So give me a Bucs win in Week 17.
Yeah, and I mean, under Todd Bowles, like it might not be the greatest player for player,
Yeah.
but they know how to run a defense. They're aggressive defense, which part can be also be their kryptonite is that sometimes they blitz 8 and you're like, what in the fuck are they doing? Right. And they get murdered over the top and you're just like, why? Right. But that said, I don't think that they're down there with the Panthers, with the Cardinals, with the Bengals. I don't think that they're that bad of a defense. No. I have them a little bit higher. They're probably closer to 20, 22-ish for me. So I think they're going to be fine. And Baker Mayfield, bro, he gonna handle business. You and I, we've been saying Bucky Irving is one of the biggest slept on running backs in all of the league for over a year now. And I still believe that to this day. Fantasy football people, if your league sucks and Bucky Irving falls and they keep showing you 60%, 68%, not take his ass. He's going to give you a lot of points. So anyway, a big win here for the Bucs for me as well. Maybe I won't go Burrow game. Maybe I won't go 41, but damn, it's up there. I'll go 34-24 if I'm being generous to Miami in this game. So my man, we are coming up on that hour though. So I do got to go ahead and pretty much get to the end here at the New England Patriots in week 18. Patriots sweep over the Dolphins. Yeah. Is this a new era with the Drake May era?
I think it is. I think this is going to be a good Patriots team. I don't think they're going to be quite good enough for the playoffs this season, but I think you're going to see a tide shift and you're like, oh, this is, well, you looked at the record earlier. They won 4 games a year ago. I think the Patriots could easily double that this year. I think they could be an 8-win team. And you're like, oh,
I agree.
This Patriots team moving forward, they're the real deal. And I think this is going to be my hot take for this one. I think after the Week 17 loss to Tampa Bay, heading into New England for this game, I think Tua is benched and never plays the game for the Dolphins again. And I think Mike McDaniel is fired and is looking for a coordinating job next year. Like, I think that loss against Tampa Bay, which would effectively end any chance they have of making the playoffs, I think that ends the Tua and Mike McDaniel era in Miami. So give me a win for the New England Patriots and an end to this era in Miami.
Oof. And like you're saying, man, I mean, this Patriots team, I was on the Patriots show, I was talking about this, and it was just like, I don't know if they're going to be a playoff contender, but if you look at their schedule, there's a big world where they win their final 3. And if they do, I think they're in. I mean, there's a world where they win 9 and, this team has to not tie or fucking lose or right. But like, I don't think they're a 10-win team, but there's 9 wins on there. There's a comfortable 7 wins, in my opinion, truly 7. I think 8's kind of where I have them. And 9 is like, hey, 1 or 2 things shake their way. Vrabel could take this team from 4 to the playoffs. And everyone's like, holy hell, Drake's legit. Vrabel's legit, whatever. So with a defense like that, bro, as long as Drake May continues to progress the way that he has been, sky's the limit, to be completely honest. So we'll see. But I'm going to go with a win here just because, like you said, I already told you by this point when I joked earlier, Tyreek's in jail. Tua's probably done. McDaniel, if he wasn't fired in the middle of the year, is knowing, I'm going to walk out here one more time and this is it. So this has to be a win for the Patriots for their sake in general, and I think they could be in the contention. So this is Dolphins don't care anymore. Patriots really want to win to go out high. That's what we get. So all that said, my man, your final record predictions for the Miami Dolphins, I have them at 7 total wins.
I'm right there with you. I have 1 less win. I have 6 total wins. I have them at 6-11 this season.
Speaking of that, I do got to figure out what their exact win total is here.
I think I want to say 8.5 games is their win total.
Of course,
I remember seeing at one point.
8 would be interesting. Over under 7.5.
7.5. Okay. We both have them on the under. I think that's a pretty safe bet. I don't think this Dolphins team is going to be good this year.
I mean, we did have the Patriots sweeping them. We did have the Bills sweeping them.
But I had the Jets losing both games to them.
True, the Jets lose both. I mean, we gave them. Yeah, I mean,
I gave
that's
them
fair.
a win.
We gave them the Browns game. The Browns could beat them. You know,
I
there's a
gave them
few others in there.
Washington.
Yeah, you gave them Washington. I mean, my God, I give them Atlanta. You're right, dude. I mean, I think 6 and 7. Like, we're being fair here. So, are we going to say ceiling 9, floor 5?
I think a 9 wins is a good ceiling for them. That's again if like Tua's healthy all year and they get a couple breaks throughout the season.
Yeah.
I think honestly their floor could be like 4 wins. Like if something happens to Tua again, like every year Tua goes down and whoever the quarterback is that steps in for him looks awful. Looks like they don't belong in the NFL. And so if Tua goes down again, which at this point you kind of have to just build in 2 to 3 games Tua doesn't play throughout the season, that's 3 more losses. And at that point I'm down to 3 wins, you're down to 4 wins, you know? So I think 4 could be a really bad floor for them.
Man, oh man, I'm right there with you. But at the end of the day, guys, I mean, I guess we've seen it before. There's a world that 9 wins gets them in. But if you're someone and you're in a conversation and someone asks you, yo, are the Dolphins going to make the playoffs? Tell them no. No. If they do, Mike McDaniel might just save his job. I just don't think it's going to happen. So we'll see, man. But all right, brother, anything else for you on the Miami Dolphins? Tua, Tyreek Hill, anything else? I think I'm good.
No, I think the only thing I would add in is if my record prediction goes how I think it's going to go, where they start off so slow, you could see. I mean, I mentioned Tua's going to be benched by the end of the year. McDaniel could be fired. I think Hill is traded. I think Jalen Waddle could be traded. I think Bradley Chubb could be traded. Like this could be they could just gut this entire roster by their bye week, and they could be a totally different team moving forward. So this is going to be an interesting year for Miami.
And honestly, either way, dude, whether it's mid-year or not, they should gut this team.
Yeah.
This Miami Dolphins team is not winning anytime soon. It just, from coaching to quarterback to every weapon to defense, they're not going to win. And you have to get to a point where you can beat the Bills. And if you can't beat the Bills, the Broncos are trying to beat the Chiefs. The Steelers are trying to beat the Ravens. The Bengals are trying to beat the Ravens. Like, you have to – the Commanders are trying to beat the Eagles. Like, if you don't see that gap, do something about it, because it's only a matter of time until they're the laughing stock. The Patriots are good again because they went through hell for 3 years of being terrible. Let go of Bill freaking Belichick and Tom Brady, and look at them. We think they're on the way back. So I don't know, man. We'll see what happens. But, guys, one more time, we want to give a shout-out to our friends at Thomas Adams Apparel. ThomasAdamsApparel.com and at Thomas Adams Apparel there on Instagram. SportsForumMedia.com. We got MLB articles up for you guys, sports betting articles, sports community articles, NFL articles. The list goes on. And at SportsForumCO on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Finally, at The Sports Forum there on YouTube. Click that subscribe button. We appreciate you guys. And until next time, Bryson Owens, Riggs Tamburo, Miami Dolphins 2025. We'll see you guys in the next one.